All right. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. Going to do a little bit different of a market update, not just Bitcoin, but some stocks that are now intriguing me in their setups, as well as general TradFi markets. On my YouTube channel, I kind of used to divide those up, but I'm just going to combine them all into one video today and post on X and YouTube and call that the weekend market update. And take it from there. So what's the agenda for today? We're going to go through Bitcoin, high time frame. Not a lot's changed there since the last video. Won't spend a ton of time on it. And then I'm going to go through the Bitcoin miners. And then I'm going to go through what's after that. And then I'm going to go through, I believe, SPY, as well as Nvidia, PayPal, Tesla, Apple, the dollar, yields, and I think that's it. I think that's going to cover it for today. And if I've got some time, I might include MicroStrategy denominated in the Bitcoin miners, because I'm seeing a lot of chatter about, ditching the miners for MicroStrategy, and I'm a fan of both. I've been charting MicroStrategy for those of you that have been following me for the better part of a year. And that trend is powerful and does not look like it's slowing down. The question ultimately is, for those that have been asking me a lot on Twitter, do you dump the miners for MicroStrategy? And I can't answer that question because I'm not a financial advisor. And so, a reminder: this isn't financial advice. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. These are my opinions. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the markets, especially me. I'm just giving you my opinion, what I see, how I see it. And sometimes they play out, sometimes they don't. And so we're going to keep it rolling. And so for right now, we're looking at the Bitcoin weekly chart, and the count still continues to play out. And why I say I don't have a whole heck of a lot of updates is we are in this powerful wave 3, and I believe this this sub 5 of minor 3, and that's the most powerful wave. If in fact, my interpretation is correct, I don't expect this to slow down anytime soon. I'm not expecting any material correction prior to us reaching the climax and terminating this wave 3, and that could be anywhere from 100 to 140K. Might even go higher. I don't know. No one knows where these things are going to end. And so I'm just doing my best to utilize what I've seen in past impulses, utilizing what I've seen as it relates to the power of the move. When we look at relative strength, right? We broke above that previous high. We are in discovery on relative strength, which is great to see. No divergences there. And so that's really it. We're now at above previous all-time highs, and in Bitcoin's DNA, it's proved that it can, from that point, double very quickly. Anywhere from 18 days to a couple months. So it's anybody's guess. I tend to continue to believe that this market is far more offsides than any of the markets that I've seen in the past. And so when you don't see a lot of euphoric posting, and you see some on X, for example, but not from a lot of the big accounts, the traditional bigger accounts, because I believe most people have missed this rally. And so the path of continued maximal pain, in my opinion, just remains this market moving without most people. And I don't know that retail has even arrived. So my interpretation here still remains that I'm waiting for this rally to terminate, and then I'm open to some type of ABC correction prior to us making a run at anywhere from 165 to 265 for this cycle. So we will see. We'll continue to monitor it and take it from there. Next is the Bitcoin miners, which have been frustrating a lot of people, myself included. This is I'm just using the ETF, the WGMI Bitcoin miner ETF to kind of illustrate what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing here essentially is, we've got this just consolidation structure since its inception, broke out, kind of a fake breakout deviation at the end of December, back in the channel, and then breakout again. And this past week, we just kind of retested that breakout. And so for all intents and purposes, to me, that this is just telling me that it's lagging. This is just telling me that it's lagging, and the market seems to be waiting for Bitcoin to breach its previous all-time high. And that's what I think is going on here. The dilution from the miners, the announcements certainly didn't help over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure there's been some chasing into MicroStrategy, but the count is still intact. So I still see this as a sub 1-2, and this too could come all the way back down even lower here and still be valid, right? The principle here is that we don't breach the origin of one. And so even if Bitcoin doesn't breach and continue to move past all-time high next week, and we were to get some continued downside, that doesn't invalidate this count, folks, for any of the miners that I'm tracking, Riot, Mara, CleanSpark. But my base case still remains that the market's showing us right now where we are with Bitcoin and its strength, that I believe this too potentially is in. Like I said, I could be wrong. And we haven't even started this sub 3 of the minor third wave. That's the most powerful wave. That's what we're seeing in MicroStrategy. And so that's the base case. I expect these miners to 2, 3, 4, 5x in Bitcoin's next impulse top to the wave 3. I could be wrong, but that's just the way that I'm reading it. Next is, you know what? Let's just go to MicroStrategy denominated in, where is it? I think I've got to add it. That's okay. I'm going to add it right now, because this is an important chart. MSTR denominated in WGMI, and where is it? Try that again. Sorry, folks. I want to add it because I already have it up here. Let's see. Do I already have it up here? MicroStrategy denominated in WG. Yeah, I do already have it up here. That's why it's not giving it to me. Sorry about that, folks. All right, here we go. So what's important here? I'm a big fan of MicroStrategy, and I'm a big fan of miners. And the question from here is ultimately what mistakes can be made. And again, this is a weekly chart. And let me just throw up RSI, because RSI in this type of environment gives me the clearest signal. And so let's just take a look at what price is doing. And this is MicroStrategy denominated in the Bitcoin mining ETF. So look at this powerful 2-week move, just incredible outperformance, unmistakable from MicroStrategy related to the Bitcoin miners. Now let's take a look at the power behind that move, the relative strength. And it's making a lower high on RSI. And RSI on the weekly, in fact, is getting to that 81 region. That doesn't mean that it can't get more overbought. That doesn't mean that this can't break, right? That doesn't mean that this gets invalidated and it keeps going and MicroStrategy keeps going. These are just things that I'm looking at to assess probabilities in my mind. And the probability in my mind is telling me right now that this is not an area to lose faith in miner performance against MicroStrategy. This does not mean I don't think MicroStrategy is going much higher, because I do. You've seen my charts. I post them on X. The count is still valid. I see MicroStrategy going much, much higher. Very, very powerful right now. Now let's move to a daily chart. And what do I see on the daily? Let me get rid of this. And we're looking at RSI as well. And so just locally, Locally, we have, again, a higher high was made on Friday. And then let's look at what RSI is doing. RSI really peaked out on Monday, 94. Whew, that is cooking. But then we have a lower high in RSI here. And again, it doesn't mean that this can't break, right? That can't bust above that and this continues to go. These are just signals to me that potentially the outperformance of MicroStrategy in the short term against the Bitcoin miners is approaching exhaustion. That's all that means. All right. Next, let's move to SPY. And I know we're all looking to call tops, excuse me, and wondering where, a reversal, a cool down is going to occur in SPY and NASDAQ. And I'm just not so sure that's happening yet. I just don't see the way that these markets are trading is hard mode and easy mode. And what do I mean? The volatility within, like, look at this candle, look at that, look at this 2-day drop, right? It's over, start of a new trend. Look at this drop, it's over, start of a new trend. Look at this drop, it's over, start of a new trend. And they just continually get bought back up. And so, I mean, could we consolidate here and start an ABC type correction? Sure, we could. But I just see I see the markets kind of starting to do one of these guys, right? Like just early stage parabola potentially. And so I continue to see us moving higher from here, as I could be wrong prior to any meaningful correction. And so for now, that's the interpretation on SPY. Tesla. I've been really intrigued with Tesla. You haven't seen me talk too much about Tesla in the past because I haven't had a clear read on it. I'm not a big fan of buying things in downtrends or trying to catch falling knives. I'm a fan of when the picture becomes clearer and we're near inflection points to try to do my best to identify them. And I could be wrong here, but I think we're nearing a key inflection point when it comes to Tesla, as I'm kind of interpreting a few things, the macro structure, the count right now. I mean, I just see this as a beautiful. You got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move to complete the primary one. You've got a 1, 2, 3 A, 1, 2, 3 B, C type correction. And, right around this area would be a nice place to terminate C, whether it's already terminated. Let's take a look at something here. Whether it's already terminated or it has more downside to go, I have no idea. But what we do have is the strength of this downtrend is nearing exhaustion. What do I mean by that? Well, we've got the RSI. This is a weekly chart. At Friday's close made a higher high, whereas the price, as you can see here, made a lower low. And so those are the types of things I like to see at potential key inflection points in the market, key areas where you could start to see reversals. And so either way, the potential for this, I think, is big, because in the event that this interpretation is correct, and we're in the process of finishing up this 2, then this 3, that could be a major move. And so for right now, that's my view on Tesla, and I am very intrigued with this setup. Doesn't hurt that it's a nice descending, broadening wedge that was kind of broken out of and just consolidating above it. And so a couple things that I really like with the Tesla setup. All right, next, let me get rid of that. And go to ARK. And ARK is another one of these names that as SPY gets going, okay, and continues to go, and Nvidia kind of takes a breather potentially. How does the market continue to go up? Well, it's names like Tesla, it's names like Apple, it's a lot of the ARK names, it's the small caps that still potentially have a long ways to go. And I've got Tesla, ARK Innovation Fund here, weekly chart. I've got the 30-week moving average. You know how I'm a big fan of using the 30-week when unsure on high time frames where we are in relation to the market, right? When you're under, when you get a decisive close under the 30 and it starts falling away from it, that signals potential downtrend, right? And that downtrend stayed under the 30 for a while, as we can see. And then we can see, you know, we reclaim it, but it's not the first reclaim. It's a negotiation around this 30-week, right? A little bit of a fake out, kind of back below, reclaim, and now, and this is my favorite right here, and I'm seeing these a lot with like Square and Robinhood, where you get a reclaim as we came out, as I believe we finished this correction, the C correction here, with our, you know, sub 1, 2, and you don't get a clean retest of this 30, right? See that gap between there, buyers step in well before it. That's a good sign to me. I like that. I don't like, see when we get a test here, right? That failed. See when we got a you know, a couple tests here that failed, I like, much like we see up here in this diagram, a little bit of space. And so I believe this is a potential signal for a lot of catching up to do in a lot of the ARK names. I could be wrong, where we could be forming this B and then we get a C down prior to a move up. But right now we've got what gives me confidence that in fact potentially is not the case is we've got this weekly close above that previous weekly high. That's a break in market structure. So true confirmation on this idea would be potentially a weekly close above that 52.91. But again, another very, very intriguing setup that bodes well for the markets. Next is Apple. Excuse me. And Apple again is demonstrating to me potential signs of trend reversal. And this is a weekly chart, much like we had, you know, this major consolidation from December 2021, this corrective move that terminated in December of 2022, kicked off the first fresh impulse here. This one, you had a sub 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move, and that took us into July of last summer. And since then, I believe my interpretation here is that we've been in a corrective move, A, B, and then we're somewhere close to, if not completing, this C wave, which then has us potentially starting our next impulse into 3. And so again, where does the fuel come from to take the market? The SPY, everything is kind of connected, right? My targets for SPY, my targets for NASDAQ, the ingredients that come with those projections come in what I'm presenting here today. Apple coming out of a correction, Tesla coming out of a correction. These are the types of things, small caps starting to break out, that can potentially keep the market going much, much higher. And what do we also have here on the RSI on the weekly? We've got a beautiful divergence. We've got a beautiful divergence here. Both of these occurred, mind you. Where did they occur? At the AC, right? At the AC, signaling potentially end of a corrective move. So that's Apple. That's how it's looking to me. What is next? Nvidia. It's all over, right? Nvidia, it's all over because of the bearish engulfing on the daily, which it's a bearish candle. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Let me pull up that daily. Right, that's a bearish engulfing candle, no doubt about it. However, that being said, Is that a sign of a reversal? No, in my opinion, it isn't. The trend here has been speaking. This trend is very clear. That's a clear trend. Is every trend just going to go up every single day? No, that's very normal in the context of a trend. And so I'm not looking for any reversal in Nvidia. If I throw up the weekly chart, if I throw up the Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart, let's just kind of see what we see. We're literally still on the outside, the upper limit of the Bollinger Band on the weekly. Does it mean it's going to stay there? No. But my interpretation here is simple consolidation. We could be, right? This could be a 1, 2, 3, type of triangle consolidation, 4 prior to making a move to 5. We did close the weekly above the 3414 extension. Again, that doesn't mean it's going to stay above there, but I don't see this as negative for the markets, or reason to say, oh, SPY is going to start reversing. I simply see this as profit taking and more fuel for the story that I'm trying to share in terms of what's going on underneath the hood of the markets in terms of rotation into Apple, rotation into Tesla, rotation into small caps. That's how it happens, right? This is just a rotation within the market, not to mention any new money coming into the market. So that's my opinion. I could be wrong. What's next? PayPal. PayPal is another one of these intriguing setups. You haven't seen me post too much of PayPal in my history because, again, I'm not a fan of trying to find bottoms, pick bottoms, ride things down too much that I don't have a lot of conviction in. I'm happy to do that with Bitcoin because I have a lot of conviction in it. But as we can see, since March of last year, I've been hearing a lot of, now's the time, now's the time, now's the time. And this thing really hasn't gone anywhere for almost pretty much a year, right? From when I've been hearing a lot about now is the time. Now, that being said, not hearing a lot about it much anymore. And so maybe the time is getting closer, or is near, or is now. I don't know. What I do know is when I'm interpreting this count, this move, we had a 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, and then this ending diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4 to complete 5. And that's kind of what an ending diagonal looks like. That's my interpretation that I've got up here. And so these are the areas in which I'm looking at this saying, all right, where can this potentially reverse? Because if in fact this 5 is in and we're making a 1, 2, then this third, again, you all know what I'm talking about here. These third waves are the most powerful. This potentially could get moving fast. And so that's why I'm intrigued by this setup. And where are we currently in this setup? I don't know, but I have an educated guess. I think we made this first impulse, and it looks like potential A, B, and maybe C isn't in yet, and we've got a little bit more to go down to the 56, 55 level prior to an impulse starting. Maybe it is in, and I've got this correction mislabeled. Who knows? But I'm very intrigued at this point in this setup because I feel like we're near a key inflection point in this name. Okay, what's next? The dollar. The dollar, this is one I posted on X over a month ago, and let me get rid of that and put that up there. And I just saw this as a redistribution schematic. To me, it was a clear redistribution schematic. From what standpoint, folks? From what gave me the confidence to kind of put this post out there and make that claim? Well, what gave me the confidence to do that was where it came from. Where did it come from? It came from a parabola, right? Think Bitcoin 2017, parabola. That's a parabola. And a parabola is broken. It doesn't just dump. You get negotiations along the way where the market isn't sure. Is it coming back, right? Everyone is bullish on things that go into parabola, and it takes a while for that bullishness to wane. And so in my mind, what this was doing was just creating this massive redistribution where the market participants were unsure what was going on, which is one of the hallmarks of redistribution. And I still could be wrong, but my interpretation here was, seeing the shooting star that we saw the week of February 5th, that's potentially a reversal candle down against this trend line. And so why I think risk assets still have a ways to go is if in fact this is a redistribution schematic and we just met last point of supply and are heading down towards the bottom end of this channel and breach and mark down, continue to mark down, then risk assets potentially could, that's where we could see a melt up in risk assets. So continuing to monitor that. Yields. This is another one that gave me some confidence 2 weeks ago when I saw another shooting star on the weekly on the 10-year in a bear flag. So we had, we got the bear flag formation, beautiful bear flag, this shooting star potential reversal candle, broke the flag, underside test during the week, and now it looks like to me yields want to keep going down. And again, this is coming from a point of just a massive consolidation move in yields. And this went back to the whole, retesting, the whole retesting of 30K for Bitcoin needs to happen. I don't like seeing retests of key support areas. That's this green rectangle. If there's true power behind this trend, this ascending triangle, which is why I drew this. This is kind of ascending triangle, right? And they're bullish, and this broke out. And in a structure like this, if it's truly bullish, I would expect something like that. No real retest, a gap, and go. And we didn't get that. And so that was the first thing that made me suspect of what was going on here with yields and the fact that we came down here and breached. And so the trend to me with yields is down. Doesn't mean that we can't get fluctuations week to week and it's going to go straight down next week. But that's just my read. So folks, that's going to wrap up the video. I know you guys want to, see some altcoin, ETH. They all look bullish to me. They're all the same. ETH looks bullish. Altcoins look bullish. As long as Bitcoin looks bullish, altcoins to me look bullish. ETH is going to look bullish. I don't know, are they moving in tandem? Is it going to be delayed? I don't know. To me, it seems like they're moving more in tandem. And that whole playbook of you've got to wait for, what's the theme on waiting? Waiting hasn't served market participants very well. Traders have been waiting for a while for entries. And so folks that have accumulated and aren't doing anything or letting the market do the work for them seem to be getting rewarded the most. And so my bias here is that as Bitcoin moves, and maybe I'll just share my last chart. Okay, let's just go to Bitcoin dominance. I haven't looked at this in a while, but let me look at this chart and kind of tell you why I'm thinking. I think it all goes together. All right. Let's just zero in on this structure. Let's just zero in on the structure right here. Okay. This is Bitcoin dominance weekly chart going back to October of 2023. What's going on here? What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin in this time has done this. So a series of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, breaking out. What's dominance doing? What are we seeing here? We're seeing a ceiling. Why isn't dominance breaking out? That's what you would typically see in an environment where there's rotation, right? Money is coming in through Bitcoin to get to altcoins, but we're not seeing that. And so I'm interpreting this as potentially, a redistribution type of event where dominance is just getting exhausted. How many times can you tap up against resistance when Bitcoin is breaking out, mind you? That's the key here. Bitcoin is breaking out, making fresh highs, and dominance just continues to run into a ceiling. And so that doesn't mean it can't break out and keep going up, but that's just my observation. That's my observation. It could be wrong. That's it. That's the last thing I wanted to say about altcoins through the lens of Bitcoin dominance. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll do another one of these next weekend, and I hope you are all well.